The Detroit Lions have clinched the playoffs officially here in Week 14 with a 34-31 win over the Green Bay Packers. A big NFC North matchup coming down to the wire. Kicker Jake Bates steps up to knock a walk-off field goal through the uprights. That's his second of this season. He was calm and poised, just like usual. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Detroit Lions Kia Auto Insurance postgame show. That's the Super Bowl champ Lomas Brown. I'm Dannie Rogers. For the first time since the 94 and 95 seasons, Detroit has clinched playoff berths in consecutive seasons. This was a big one against a divisional opponent, Lomas.
Oh, this was huge. This game basically was for first place, and the guys stepped up. And Danny, so many question marks coming into this game for the Detroit Lions, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Those guys stepped up and answered every question they needed to. Kudos to the guys on defense, but kudos to Aaron Glenn for having these guys right and really having these guys ready to play this game against Green Bay.
The Detroit Lions defense has been decimated with injuries. There's been 4 linebackers put on IR alone. So what do you have to do when you come into a game where your defense is depleted? You have to win the time of possession, Lomas, and Detroit did that. 36 minutes to Green Bay's 24 minutes. That third down category as well is so glaring, Lomas. 1 of 5 for Green Bay. Detroit just under 50% in that stat.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge there, Danny. What that means to me, when you go 7 out of 15, that means that your offense is controlling the ball. You're eating up first downs. But the most important thing is that you're keeping Jordan Love and that offense, his offense, on the sideline. So I thought it was very important for our offense to pretty much dominate this game, but continuously move it by picking up first downs, because again, like you said, you keep that opposing offense on the sideline, give your defense a chance to rest. And our defense, man, it's just been unbelievable, Danny, what they've been able to do these last few games.
Yeah. Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator, has put a bandage on this defense.
Yes,
and honestly, not even that. He has turned some very new faces into Detroit Lions football players. Head coach Dan Campbell is standing by at the podium. Let's hear from him.
All right. Man, what a win. You know, that was a hell of a job by our players and our coaches, man. That was a total team effort. We talked about it. You know, what we were going to need going in, the style that we needed to play with, and you know, we wanted that defense to just cut it loose. Just go play, man. Effort, finish. And man, they did that. You know, God, they did that. It's a hell of a job by AG, and those guys just laid it on the line, man. They call them the Northern Savages. They just roll right in the door, man, and they're in the game. It's a hell of a job. And then our offense, you know, we knew they were going to need to carry the load. You know, you need to carry a little bit more of the backpacks and such, and man, we did that. You know, they did that, stepped up in a big way, and it was a number of guys really made plays for us across the board, you know, and it took everybody we had on offense, and, you know, Goff had another big game. TP was big. You know, Laporta made some big plays for us. So, you know, look, you can go down the line, but, man, I was proud of them, and, you know, I just love the fact we just find a way, man, and you feel like the narrative, you know, the narrative going in, man, we weren't buying any of the stuff about where we were at, and no excuses. And our guys knew where we were at. We don't need to talk about being tough. We don't need to talk about being resilient. We live it, and it's what we are. And, man, we just proved it again. Proud of our guys.
I think 99.9% of football coaches probably kick that field goal before when you're in line with 43 seconds. So can you just take us through why you felt that it was important to get that first down and run that clock out and win it that way?
I just, you know, I felt like we needed to end it on offense, you know, and I did not want to give that ball back, and I believed we could get that. I believed we could convert, you know, and I trusted that O-line. I trusted David, and they came through for us. It's a hell of a call by Ben, you know. It just I knew how I wanted to play this game. The team knew it, and everything in me told me that let's finish this, and so we did.
How about Jared being able to get rid of that ball when you get stepped on?
He's an athlete. And he got that thing handed off. And David did the rest. It was great.
Were there any questions in your mind after you failed to get the fourth down earlier in the third quarter, as far as trepidation?
None. And look, I told the guys knew, players knew, the coaches knew. Listen, don't ride the wave. You know, we could be up 2 scores, we could be down 2 scores, but just because we're one or the other, we got to play our style of game going in, what we felt like we needed to do, what I felt like we needed to do. And so that meant the risk was there. And, you know, and you fell in negative territory, you're trying to hold them to a field goal. But I knew that was how I wanted to play that team with where we were at.
Dan, you have won so many different ways this season. The way you just won this one with so many guys injured, you just said no excuses. How do you describe this one in
This is
the whole
sweet.
season?
I told the team this will be one of those you never forget. I was telling Goff pregame, I said, man, you've played all these games. You had this long career. You know, and I'm sure there's some you don't remember everything when you've played as long as he, but I said, you will never forget this one. You will never forget this game. And I think a lot of it is just that, what we've had to overcome, the hand we were dealt. And I just love the fact our guys don't make excuses, man. They just find a way. And everybody on this team believed we were going to win that game. And we were going to find a way. And we did it again. We did it again. Guys did it.
Having to deal with what you dealt with your defensive players, did you know going in that you would go on fourth down more than you ever have, every chance you get, just so you could possess the ball more?
Well, I knew that if we needed to do that, I was prepared to do that. You're hoping you don't get into them. You don't have to get into fourth. You convert on third if it comes to that. But we were prepared. We were prepared.
What helps your conviction in those moments? Like, you've never wavered from this aggressiveness, no matter where this team has been.
Well, look, when you're in it with these guys and you've been around them long enough, and you know, I've been around Ben, I've been around Goff, been around Frank and Sewell and Saint and you know Montgomery now, and Gibbs, and now J-Mo's been here going. You know, Laporta, man. There's been enough time on task. With those guys, Graham, that I felt good. I feel good, and I felt like we'd find a way. And you'd love to say if you're going to do that, you're going to convert every one of them, but that's not the reality. It doesn't always work that way. And so there's going to be you're taking a high level of risk. You know, there is risk with it, but I felt like with our guys, it wouldn't be as big of a risk as it may appear to be.
Your thoughts on qualifying for the playoffs this early and the progress that represents when you came into where we are now? It's first week in December, you're already in the playoffs.
Well, and I just found that out actually, and I didn't even realize that. You know, listen, it's good. It's good, but it's like, man, we got 4 left, and we want to get. Of course, we want it in. We want it in a different way. You know, we want to go in on our own terms. And we want to find a way to get this 1 seed, and that's the priority. You know, certainly you got to win the division, and then you get this 1 seed. And we took a step closer to winning this division and doing what I just mentioned. So, yeah, listen, it's great. We're in the playoffs. I wish I'd have told the team. I didn't even tell them. I had no idea. But honestly, I think they know. You know, I think they feel like I feel. I really believe that. And it's like, yeah, I think everybody be like, okay, that's great. We did the old golf clap, but then we know what we want to do. And we talked about this really even after last year. We talked about it in the spring, talked about it in training camp. We know what our goals are.
How big is that matchup for you guys?
Huge. What a great addition he's been. And he just continues to make plays for us in the run game and the pass game. Stepped up big here. Man, we talked about catching and knifing today. Man, catch, turn, and run. Catch it, tuck it, turn, and run. Do whatever. If you can only get 5, you got to get a 6. If you can only get a 7, you got to get us 8. And man, I mean, he did that multiple times, and he comes up with the 2 big touchdowns for us. He's been an unbelievable addition, man. What a stud.
I'm sorry. Can you say you knew how you wanted to play this game, and the team knew it? Can you elaborate on that? Because how do you convey the leaning on the offense without making it seem like the injuries are going to be an issue?
I think you tell them the way you want to play the game, you know, And defensively, we played our strengths. And what are our strengths, man? AG did a hell of a job, trim the package down to where these guys can come in and play. And it's not like we got guys that had never played ball. I mean, you know, Quan Alexander's played football in this league, and Jamal Adams has played football in this league, you know. And we brought in the other guys that are 5-year guys, you know, Miles and Jonah. And so, and then Muhammad's been here. And so we wanted to trim it back to where those guys could play fast. And that was really just cut it loose, man. It's not going to be perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. And so with that, any burden we can take off you guys to where you can just cut it loose. And we knew there may be some errors, but I just want to turn on the tape and know the effort and the finish is there, and we're going after the football. Find a way to get a takeaway. We got a takeaway. It was huge. Man, it was huge. Carlton Davis, big punch out there. And then we'll shuffle the load a little bit to the offense and special teams if need be.
Dan, some of the toughest games we've had this season have been against divisional opponents. Just kind of speaking on that, just this division, this season.
Our division is damn good. I mean, it's really good. It's the best division in football, in my opinion. You know, I mean, we got top tier talent. We got top tier coaching and players, and the whole deal. The competition is just, you know, it's really elite. And so I think that's just another reason why you got to do whatever it takes to win this division, man. Because if you do and you're able to play at home, man, it's going to go a long way with the teams that we have. Because I think the team we just played, Minnesota, you know, I think we can all make some noise.
Dan, this game was chippy from jump. What do you tell your team going into a game like this about keeping that aggression but making sure they kind of find that line?
Yeah, just keep your head, be disciplined. I mean, it's really as simple as that. Our guys know. You know, I thought they did a hell of a job. Our guys did a hell of a job. You know, certainly we're not going to take anything from anybody, but we're smart enough to know that, man, we can't have, you know, personal fouls and things like that. So you just tell them that, and they understand that. They really do. You know, they handled it well.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Being the starting quarterback for the Lions, moving out here to Detroit, what's the first thing you learned about car insurance?
Yeah, I learned it's a challenge, and I'm curious what brought you to Michigan.
We were a big part of the new reform laws that were passed in 2019, went into effect in 2021. So it gave us an opportunity to give affordable rates to people in Michigan that they've been starving for years.
Amazing. Anything else?
Yeah. Go Lions.
Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well.
Detroit Lions Live is brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. Log on to cure.com to see how you can save. The NFC Special Teams Player of the Month, Jake Bates, he walked off a good one here today. Last game against Chicago, Thursday night, came down to the wire. We're just going to keep it going. It came down to the wire once again. Both teams tied at 31 apiece, and Jake Bates rattles this one off right through the uprights. Final 34-31. We keep talking about Bates. He used to be a brick salesman. He made sure he cleared the air. He didn't actually get as far as selling any bricks before he got, you know, into his football career in Houston.
So
but
he was learning about bricks. He was learning about bricks.
Yeah, so that man hasn't sold any bricks. But oh my goodness, he is making those balls fall right through the upright.
He's not kicking bricks, Danny. He's not kicking bricks.
Thankfully.
I mean, this guy has been clutch. And this is hard to fathom that he was somebody that we had a question mark about before the season started. He's proven to be nothing but clutch. We know we could count on Jake Bates in pressure situations, and that's a real confident feeling to know that when you send your field goal kicker out there, you're pretty much going to get the 3 points.
He had to get a lot of 3 points last weekend.
Yes.
He comes up 2 for 2 here today. Special teams, they really talk about it being a complete team, every single phase coming together. You've got Jack Fox, one of the best punters in the NFL. You don't have one of the best returners in Khalif Raymond anymore. And I think you've been able to see that in the lack of punt and kick returns.
Yeah, no, great point, Danny. And don't forget Jerm. I mean, he was one of the all-pro. He made all-pro on special teams. So, again, we're missing a lot out there, but these guys just seem to step up. Coach says we need you guys to step up, next man up. And that's what this team has been doing all year long, and I expect them to keep doing this. Jake Bates, Jack Fox, some of the guys that you mentioned, they've been solid all year long, and I expect them to continue to be solid the rest of this year.
Bates stepped up to get an interview by in-stadium host Anthony Bellino right after the game. Let's hear what they had to say.
All right, what pride, we're down to the field right now with the man who just kicked that 35-yard game-winning field goal. Let's hear it for Jake Bates. Jake, man, what does it mean for your team to look at you, to have the confidence you to knock that kick down for the game winner?
Yeah, it just means a lot. You know, this team has done so much for me. This fans, man, we have the best fans in the world, and just to come in here and get another division win, another win, and you know, just keep stacking it is awesome.
I'm sure you know this, but this is now a second consecutive season you guys clinched the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of work to do, but you know, we're going in the right direction.
I know you mentioned the fans. This place packed Thursday night. You guys gave them a heck of a game, very entertaining. One message to them as we get ready to, you know, come down the home stretch here.
Yeah, keep on coming. We need you. Y'all saw what y'all's noise does to the other team, man. We love you guys, and we can't wait to be back home next week.
Fans, give it up for number 39, Jake Bates, the 35-yard game-winning field goal.
One thing you don't have to tell Detroit Lions fans is to come on back. They have caused 10 false starts inside Ford Field this season, Lomas.
They just been awesome. Danny, can I say this? Jake Bates does look like a brick salesman. I'll just say that.
He never actually sold any, Lomas.
Okay, I'm sorry. He looks like a guy dealing with bricks. So, but no, you're right. Our crowd, Danny, and just not at home, right? On the road, they've been the same way. I forgot which game we caused a false start on the road. So fans, just like Jake Bates said, you guys are so big for us. You bring so much energy to this football team. We just need you to keep coming out, keep doing what you've been doing, because this has been awesome.
Offensively for the Detroit Lions, it is built off the run game, namely by David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And Jahmyr Gibbs' second season in the NFL, he has officially joined the 1,000 rushing yard club. He hit that here tonight on 15 attempts, 43 yards. And Montgomery, they really are the 1-2 punch. So balanced. 14 attempts, good enough for 51 yards. And Lions end with 111 rushing yards on the day. That seemed a little bit lower, and it actually at one point didn't feel like they might have hit that, Lomas.
No, you're absolutely right about that. And Danny, you know why? You give Green Bay credit. I mean, Green Bay, they played hard tonight. They weren't as depleted as we were, but they had some guys that were missing tonight. But I just thought we continued to pound the rock at those guys. We pounded the rock, and it finally cracked. So that's what we need to do. That's the philosophy. That's the scheme. That's how this offense attacks defenses. We just need to keep it going, Danny. Just keep doing what we've been doing.
If you looked at the first half and you said, oh, okay, Montgomery, Gibbs have both scored, you would have already known these Lions would win the game. They are 11-0 when those two running backs score a touchdown. Offensively, another big weapon tonight. Everyone heard his name multiple times. Tim Patrick. He was signed at the end of August to these Detroit Lions to fill that wide receiver number 3 role. He has done exactly that. He came up with 2 touchdowns today. That's the first time he's had a multi-score game in his career since December 6th of 2020, almost 4 years to the day.
TP, as I'm going to call him now, he's TP to me. Love what he has brought to this team. He's a big receiver, probably our biggest receiver that we have. And when you have a big receiver like that, then you have a lot more range for error, meaning that his target range is so big because of his size. So it's just been great to see how he works the middle of the zone, how he's working the outside, how he works when we get in the red zone. He's a big target for Jared Goff. Jared seems to be getting more and more comfortable with him, and you seem to see TP getting more and more involved in this offensive game plan. So kudos to him for always being ready when he's called upon.
Patrick is our player of the game because he caught 6 balls that were thrown his way. 7 targets on the day, good enough for 43 yards. That first touchdown came on 4th and 3 in the third quarter to put these Lions up 24-21. By the way, Lomas, 2 4th-down touchdowns here today. That matches last matchup against Green Bay. More touchdowns on 4th down. And then Tim Patrick, he rattles off a 4th quarter tutty, 31-28. That would give these Detroit Lions the lead, and that's his 2nd touchdown of the day. Look at the reaction.
Was he mocking the Lambeau leap? Was that the Ford Field leap that he just went and did?
He looks comfy doing it.
He did.
I love that Jared Goff made sure he went and got that game ball and gave it back to Patrick.
Yes, man. Jared, always aware, Danny. He's always in the moment. Great job, Jared Goff.
And Jared Goff, he came into this game, 72 completion percentage. That is good for number 2 in the NFL. The chants back there, not only were they chanting Jared Goff post-game, they got the MVP chant going.
Danny, he deserves it. Why his name isn't brought up more in the MVP race, at the top of the MVP race, I don't understand. He had one bad game. But if you take his body of work throughout the whole season, Jared has been consistent. He's been playing at a high level. I mean, he's been playing at the MVP level pretty much this whole season. So it's a travesty that his name isn't brought up a lot more in the MVP race. It really is.
Well, we're bringing it back.
That's right.
He threw for 283 yards here today, 3 touchdowns. He now has 5 straight home games with 2+ touchdown passes. Look, he used his feet a lot today. He tripped a couple times.
Did.
I didn't love those. I'm not going to lie to you, especially on that 4th down.
Oh, Danny. And I was one of the guys, and I guess that's why Coach doesn't listen to me, because I was one of the guys yelling, kick it, kick it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, but again, that's why he doesn't listen to me. It was a little touchy when Jared fell, but he was able to get that ball to Montgomery, to David, and we got the first down. So, but it was great.
Goff,
so,
he is an athlete, showing off his athleticism, not fumbling the ball. Goff is standing by at the podium now. Let's hear from him.
Fall down and all that.
Yeah, just got tripped up there a little bit, and bad feeling when you're a quarterback. Not the first time that's happened in my career. You try to like stretch out and give it to him. I was even probably going to flip it to him if I couldn't hand it to him, but made it happen, made it work, and David did the rest.
Dan talked about the athleticism you showed.
Yeah, real athletic to fall down on a routine handoff, but yeah, I'm glad we made it happen.
You guys knew going in.
Aggressiveness, this team in the trademark, and how it panned out today.
Yeah, and we came into this game knowing we were going to do it maybe a little bit more than usual. Dan had mentioned that early in the week that he was going to really lean on our offense to make some things happen and certainly be aggressive on 4th down if the opportunity presented itself. And there at the end, I know he was kind of in between on what he wanted to do, and obviously made the right decision.
Was he really debating it with you guys?
No, he was internally debating it.
Was he?
Yeah.
And what faith does that show in you and the offense, everybody that he?
Bigger than anything.
Yeah.
Like that's like all you want from a head coach is to believe in you, and that gives us that little extra oomph to want to make it happen. And I'm not the one running or blocking, but I'm sure those guys up front say, all right, you're giving it to us to make this game and finish this game off on our terms. And yeah, it means a ton.
Dan said that.
Patrick this week, he's stepped up a bunch, but just again, what he means to that receiver.
Yeah, today seemed like his day down there, certainly in the red zone, and he's been so consistent since he got here, as far as unselfish, blocks, does everything right, and he hasn't gotten a touchdown. What week are we in? 14, 15, whatever it is, hasn't gotten a touchdown until today, and had 2 of them, and he deserves it, man. He's a stud, and I'm so happy he's on our team.
Dan said that despite all the games that you've played, that you would remember this one.
Me personally?
Yeah. Said that you would. Do you think that's true? And if so, why?
Oh, yeah. Circumstances around it, I think. Yeah, it's a division game. It's at home. It's prime time. Told us early in the week he was going to lean on the offense. Kind of challenged the offense really early in the week. Challenged myself. Challenged the guys on the offense. Like, hey, it's your turn to hold your weight and carry the load and make this thing happen and make this thing go. And for me, that's like the greatest feeling ever. You're like, all right, let's effing go and let's make this thing happen. And ultimately, we got the win, and we played pretty well on offense.
Has it gotten to the point where when it's 4th down, you don't even really think you're ever coming off the field?
No. I think he obviously plays that line, you know, of what he wants to do, and but certainly we're aggressive, and that's kind of been our thing for a couple of years. And I think it does change the way teams have to prepare. They have to prepare for, you know, 4th down and 4th and short, and have you know, ideas of what they want to do. And I think he's done a really good job of deciding when to go and when not to go. And certainly because it worked, everyone's going to say, you guys are going to say, great call. And if it didn't work, you guys would be crushing him. And that's the game he plays. And that's why he's the guy with the big stones, and we trust him.
Feels like these meetings between you and Green Bay just keep getting
go ahead.
chippier. How have you seen the intensity in this rivalry kind of evolve over the last handful of years?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, listen, they're a great team. They are. They're a tough team, and they're a really tough defense, and they're a really tough offense. They're really well coached. They got a lot of good players. And I think in the last 2 years, we've been able to beat them, you know, a handful of times in a row. And that doesn't mean that, you know, we have like some sort of, you know, magic over them. Like, we've just been able to handle it. And I think that, you know, they're probably frustrated about it, and that's okay. And you know, we want to try to keep beating them, but you know, you tip your cap. They're a good team, and so are we. And I'm glad these games have been very close and very entertaining, and I'm glad we've won them.
You got 6 bigger goals, but what does it mean to clinch a playoff spot first week of December?
Yeah, I just heard that. Yeah, pretty cool. Certainly, yeah, not what our ultimate goal is. You know, we want to win this division and got some work to do still, but yeah, cool to know that we're in the dance, and want to see where we're seated now.
You had 6 guys with 5 catches today.
Yeah.
It ties an NFL record. Just what does that say about this offense and just all the pieces that you got out there?
Yeah, we have a lot of guys we can throw to, and you know, we got 3 tight ends I feel comfortable throwing to. We got 3 or 4 or 5 receivers when all healthy that I feel comfortable throwing to. 2 running backs, which is rare, that I feel comfortable throwing to. And yeah, it was a good day today to spread that ball around. And again, we knew we were going to be a little bit aggressive offensively, and it worked out.
David and Jameer get a lot of credit for their skills with the ball. How about their blocking, picking up blocking,
sure.
Blitzing linebackers today in particular?
Yeah, I think those guys take pride in it, and Scotty, their coach, takes a lot of pride in it. And when you have running backs that care that much about protecting me and wanting to make sure that I'm taken care of back there, it means the world. And those guys are studs. I can't say enough good things about them, and I'm happy they're on our team.
Thank you, guys.
And hold on, last thing, I got to talk about the defense real quick. What our defense did this week is tremendous, and I know the points, whatever. They had guys out there that got here on Sunday that were playing and doing a hell of a job. And credit AG, credit that staff over there, and credit those freaking players for playing their tails off today. I mean, they went out there, they let it hang, and played hard ball and made it hard on them, and it was fun to watch.
Thanks, Jared.
Saint, great game. Is that the best catch you've ever made?
Actually, there was one better.
When? The Chicago game?
Minnesota?
No, getting Cure Auto Insurance.
Are you for real?
Seriously, when I got here in Michigan, car insurance was the worst. But saving up to 40% by switching to Cure was my best catch.
Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well.
Detroit Lions Live is brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. Log on to cure.com to see how you can save. Detroit Lions signed 4 new defensive players this week. They needed to bolster that side of the defense, so it's great to see Goff give a lot of love to the defense. They did surrender the most points this season to any team, 31. But we're not going to harp on that. Listen, we're not going to do that. Here's the new faces. Jamal Adams. Yes, that Jamal Adams, the veteran DB. He knew Aaron Glenn back at his LSU Pro Day 8 years ago, and they've just flourished with that relationship. That's one of the big reasons he's here today. Miles Adam, another veteran in here, coming up on the defensive line. Quan Alexander, you heard his name early on. He was making sure he was pressuring the pocket. And then Jonah Williams, he came in, stepped up big previously with the Cardinals. Those are all new faces here, Lo. Here's a roster. I had to keep a roster on me all game.
Right. Danny, it's just amazing. Like Jared said, some of these guys got in on Sunday, and these guys came in and they made impactful plays, and it's just great to see. And to me, that's Brad Holmes. That's Brad Holmes knowing the type of guys he needs to bring in here. That's Brad Holmes knowing that it's only certain players that can play for the Detroit Lions of high character, and these guys have to be those high character guys, those guys you don't mind plugging in, those guys that you can count on. So kudos to Brad Holmes, kudos to Dan Campbell, kudos to the position coaches to get those guys ready to play the game tonight.
A lot has fallen on Terrell Williams, defensive line coach, and Kelvin Shepard, linebackers coach's plates, and they've created a masterpiece with what they've been able to do with the defense. Looking at the quarterback comparison, Jordan Love had only 3 completions in the first half. If we want to keep beefing up how well that Detroit Lions defense played, they only allowed 3 completions from Love. Taking a look at the comparison, 3 touchdowns to just 1 from Jordan Love. He was 12 of 20 in a Green Bay uniform compared to Jared Goff's 41 attempts, which I know Detroit doesn't love to see that many times that Goff has to throw the ball.
Yeah, I'm really shocked that Jared threw the ball 41 times, Danny, because when we played them early in the year, we ran the ball 32 times. So I thought that would be kind of the blueprint we would use again against this Green Bay team. But again, you know, give Jared credit for taking advantage of the opportunities that he was getting and making the most out of those opportunities. Again, we're a team that's established ourselves off of the run. Once we're able to run the ball, everything else comes off of that. But we took a little different approach tonight and really kind of put the ball up in the air more so than we tried to run it.
And that ball in the air found Jamison Williams a lot. 5 catches for Williams, good enough for 80 yards on the day. He was targeted 8 times. When you see an open lane downfield, the guy that's crashing towards it, that's going to come up with a big catch, it's Williams.
Yes, Danny. He takes little passes, and the guy's so explosive. He could take it to the house. It's just great to see him clear out zones, too. A lot of times when he's not getting the ball, he is so important to our offense because he clears out those safeties. So Amon-Ra, so Sam Laporta, so Jahmyr Gibbs, or David Montgomery, so they could come underneath and make completions. So he's vital to our offense, and he's going to be vital moving ahead as we move on through this season.
Jamison Williams led all receivers for the Detroit Lions here today with those 80 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a quieter day today.
Yes.
He still came up with 43 yards on 5 receptions. Those receptions were really spread out across this entire game. But when these Detroit Lions need a first down, they called on Goff's safety blanket, which is St. Brown.
Yeah, great point, Danny. I mean, they went to him early. I think the first couple of passes were to Amon-Ra, and like you said, for some reason, they weren't able to get back to him to really like the second half of the game. But anytime they get back to this guy, he's where he needs to be at. He's clutch. He's going to get that first down if you need that first down. He's going to do whatever it takes to help our offense be successful. So Amon-Ra, you know, he's a guy, he doesn't have to get fed a lot. He's going to do a lot of other things to help that team, like blocking and some of the other things that need to be done to help our team.
And St. Brown isn't going to get fed a lot because he has teammates like tight end Sam Laporta, who had 5 receptions for 54 yards today. He had some massive first downs in this one too.
He did. Sam is good. And Sam is starting to get his feet back under him. We're starting to utilize Sam a little bit more. Sam is starting to get himself open, too, so that Jared Goff can get the ball to him. So I'm impressed with how this young man has hung in there because the season started off really, really slow for Sam Laporta. It's starting to pick up more and more, and you can see what an integral part he is to our offense.
Speaking of an Iowa Hawkeye and Sam Laporta, his former teammate at Iowa, linebacker Jack Campbell's the only starter left in that room. He led all Detroit defenders with 8 total tackles here today. He is now the breath of life there in the defense. He knows exactly how AG wants to run it. And as long as he's leading in tackles, that is a sure sign that this Detroit defense is on the right path.
It is, Danny. He's wearing the green dot right now. He's the guy that's responsible for lining our defense up, making sure he get the defensive calls in there. You know, so he's an important piece and still a young guy. He's still young, and for them to put this on his plate right now at this early age, and for Jack to handle it the way he's been handling it, I mean, it's amazing. So again, he's taken on the responsibility of running that green dot, and he's been doing a very good job because he has stepped his game up over the last couple of weeks.
Because he has to.
Yeah.
4 linebackers have been put on IR. Along the edge of this defense, Darius Smith was brought in from Cleveland at that trade deadline, and he keeps delivering for these Detroit Lions. He gets his 3rd sack in a Detroit uniform here today. It came on the first play for Green Bay in this game.
Yeah, it did. It happened early for Zadarius, and I'm so happy he was able to get that and have that impact play. Anytime you go against your former team, you want to do well. Individually and team-wise, you want to do well against them. I thought he did a great job, again, early in the game, getting pressure on Jordan Love, getting the sack on Jordan Love. It kind of set the tempo, kind of set the tone for the rest of the guys on that defensive line and the rest of the guys in that front 7.
Smith had to anchor this defensive line because Aleem McNeil, he did not finish this game. He was following concussion protocol. He left the game, did not come back in towards the end of it. That was his 2nd stint of leaving this game. So he was a big veteran piece in that defense here today. Now we are officially watching the scores from every week. We do that every week, but now we really are paying attention, especially to the NFC North, because like Coach Campbell said, Detroit wants that 1 seed. They want the first-round bye, and they want home field advantage for these playoffs. Here are the upcoming games that you want to look out for. Vikings, what is that? Atlanta. That is a big one. Vikings need to help Detroit out by coming up with a loss. That would be really helpful, okay?
Or Atlanta getting a win.
Yes.
There you go.
No, we need a loss from the Vikings.
Yes,
they
we
need
do.
to add. Yes. Exactly. That's a big one here. Eagles, Carolina.
Yes.
Look, Philly's probably going to win that. We need them to lose as well.
Yes.
We're just getting straight to the point with this one. Bucks, sure, why not? Why not lose? It's not going to do much, but just go and lose.
But it'll help, Danny.
Why not? Cardinals. You've been watching Cardinals real closely here to Seahawks. That's going to be a good game at 4:05.
Exactly. One of those teams I don't think is going to get in, Danny. This might be the game to determine that.
That is wild. And then Bills are taking on LA. Bills. They need it would be nice if they came in here with a loss and a little depleted.
There you go. There you go. Matthew Stafford. Beat them up. Beat them up for us. That's right, Danny.
And then Bears and Niners, they don't have much weight right now on what Detroit will do in the playoffs. But, I mean, if they could both lose, why not? Just give them a tie. Josh Allen and those Buffalo Bills are coming into Ford Field next Sunday. 4:25 kick. What are you anticipating from a matchup like that?
I anticipate a bloodbath, Danny. These are 2 teams and going in that direction right there. 2 teams that are trying to get to New Orleans in February. This is going to be a great game. You got high competitors in Josh Allen and Jared Goff going at it. They got a nice run game with James Cook versus our run game. They're pretty good on the defensive side of the ball, too. So it's going to be a challenge at Ford Field at 4:25 on that Sunday. But I do expect with this home crowd and with how they've been supporting this team, I do expect us to get a close, tough, hard victory.
Well, it was a tough-fought victory here today. That's a big boy win. When you have a depleted defense, they were sick of hearing that all week. They come out, and when they needed to stop those Green Bay Packers the most, they came up with some really big stops. Zeke Turner, by the way, he came up with a big 3rd down on one of those final drives for Green Bay. Your final takeaways from this 34-31 win for Detroit to clinch a berth in the playoffs.
Danny, we knew it was going to be a hard game, a hard-fought game because, like you said, we were so depleted. But I'm so proud of these guys for stepping up and really taking the challenge. I know these coaches challenged these guys this week, and not only did they challenge the guys that had been here, but they challenged the new guys that came here. The new guys stepped up. The guys that have been here stepped up. That's what this team has been doing all year long, Danny, and I know they're going to continue to do the same. Why? Because that's how we're built.
Detroit, keep it rolling. Now 12-1 on the season here in Week 14. They take down the Green Bay Packers 34-31 right inside Ford Field. And Detroit, come on back next week for Week 15 as they take on the Bills. One step closer to that 1 seed in the NFC, one step closer to that first round bye in the playoffs, because Lions already going into the playoffs. We already know that. For Lomas Brown, I'm Dannie Rogers. Thanks so much for tuning in to Detroit Lions Live post-game show. We'll see you right back here next Sunday.